knowing the way I work helps me to not go on tilt where I'm not doing something and it's bouncing back in a way that's having me not be as effective when I do start something and need to finish it. I need to be effective at it.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely keep the ball rolling, but don't burn out, because that will ruin you.
So we make schedules to record video and edit stuff and record a podcast, everything that's editing a podcast, tulubs.com. And sometimes, is it sometimes?
Sometimes. I don't know where you're going with that.
Wait, hold on. Okay, so we've set a schedule pretty much. We'll try different schedules to figure out what works best when we're trying to create content, and we'll have picked out the topic and get everything written out somewhat so we have an idea what we're talking about before we get there. We're just ad-libbing it, which does happen sometimes, but it's more of extra on top of rather than just impromptu. And sometimes if you miss a day, it could have this, it has a tendency, it's easier to think of it as having a domino effect that makes it harder to stick to the schedule if you're not careful. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think the mindset is if you miss a day or miss 2 days after being really super productive, you're like, oh, it's just a day or two, it's fine. I can get back into it. But you're kind of finding that you're losing your rhythm. Like, you might have thrown, like, your routine off, your nightly routine, your daily routine. So it can kind of really affect your whole world.
So I think of it as the same thing that happens when you break a New Year's resolution. That breaking a New Year's resolution, you kind of lose the steam and the momentum of having it like, okay, since the New Year's, I've been doing this. And then say it doesn't happen anymore. It's just, I can't say that I've done it. Truthfully, I can't truthfully say that I've done it since the New Year started. And I think it loses a little bit of the pizzazz, the boom factor, like, hey, New Year's happened, I said I was doing this, I did this, I never missed a day. And you can't say that anymore. So what do?
Well, I mean, I'd say that I would like to argue that there's nothing wrong with, like, taking a day off or taking a break, but as long as you have the motivation and the momentum to pick it back up and just kind of pick up where you left off, I think if you can do that, then missing a day isn't the worst thing in the world, but there's more cons to it than pros, I would say.
Yeah, but that's the tricky part. You lose, that's the thing, you said momentum and willpower, something like that? No. Motivation. The momentum, I feel like the momentum is totally gone once you miss that first day. So you need something else, something else to, like, just pick you back up from that and say, hey. And I think part of it is that it's that New Year thing, or okay, you commit to something, even if it's not a New Year resolution, even if you said in June, I'm going to start doing this from now on, and you miss like a day or something, and it's not the end of the world as long as you don't let yourself off the hook too much for it. Like, I could say I'm going to work out 5 days a week, and then a week comes, I work out 4. I'm like, if you justify it where it's like, maybe I should just work out 4 days a week from now on, then that starts changing the whole dynamic. If you start adjusting your goals as you go along, and it makes it harder to stick to what you originally came from. And that's, I think that part of it, just adjusting as you go along. Like if you set something and you adjust as you go along, it's like, okay, it's better if you really committed to doing the 5 days. It's not like, okay, I have 2 weeks where I had 5 days, and I have 1 week where I had 3 days. I have another week where I had 4 days, and then I had 5 days for a stretch of a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
You're still going after that bigger goal. So if you slip up and fall, it's not really that bad.
No, that's true. But I think if you say you want to do something, so like you say you want to work 5 days a week, work out 5 days a week, and then like other commitments come up too, you might revisit it and kind of restructure the goal. So you might work 4 days a week, but you're also doing this. You're doing shakes or, protein shakes or smoothies or energy things, or you're walking instead of, taking the bus or something. I don't know. You're technically not like going to the gym or working out per se, but you're still being active. Sometimes you just need to, like you said, restructure it and kind of revisit it just so you can kind of stick with the momentum and kind of keep your goal. Because I know for us, we try to do Saturday, Sunday be the day that we record all videos, and but after a long week, you kind of want to relax and you want to just sleep in and you want to, just not do anything because your week was so busy. And I think now that we realize that we have busy weekends and we have weekends where we don't do anything, having more of a range of days where we're allowing ourselves to record videos and to get things done. So we'll do like Saturday to Tuesday, and we'll use those 4 days as video recording days, podcast creativity days. So that way it kind of gives us a little more flexibility, and it's not so strict where we have to do this, by this time, and if you don't, then there's no other opportunity to do it.
You get on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah? What would you, if you had one thing to say, like, what would you want someone to do after watching this video?
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands?
Yeah.